Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday morning. All right. We all know it's coming. Nobody will talk about it, but I will. We are in a situation in this country, in many countries, where our judiciary, our judicial system, is completely corrupt. And this week, events of this week, proved it. How insane the legal system has gotten. I mean, we could be looking at, I don't know, take Europe, for example. This guy raped a 14-year-old and we're just going to let him go. What? He raped somebody. Well, yeah, in their culture, 14 years old is fine. They don't know that the age of majority is 18 here, so we can't do anything about it, right? Or whether it's yesterday's Supreme Court decision, where 7 of the 9 judges apparently are corrupt, including the Chief Justice and the 3 justices that Donald Trump appointed in his first time. I mean, we know that the 3 liberal idiots have no clue about the law. They are all about their feelings. But when you have Roberts and Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Comey Barrett agreeing with the liberals, we have a problem. Okay. I mean, if you look into that one, that was the illegals didn't have enough time to file a complaint, if you will, against their arrest, before they were deported. No, they don't need to file. They're illegals, they get deported. The State Department determines who comes in the United States and who doesn't, not the court system. They can talk all they want about this Alien Enemies Act and stuff like that. I don't even know why we bothered bringing that up. Whoever brought that up to Donald Trump and said, hey, use this, should be fired. This is a real simple. You're illegal, you're out of here. The end. Okay? I'm sorry, but the Constitution mentions 4 times in it that it is for citizens of the United States, not for anybody who just happens to be standing on the land. Okay? So no, the illegals do not have a right to due process. They are subject to the laws of their own country. That's where they have those rights. But while they are in the United States, they are a guest of our country. And just like in your house, if somebody's a guest, if you want them to leave, they leave. That's it. It's not like, well, I'm going to appeal this to court that I can stay in your house. No. But the judges, even on the House level, seem to think otherwise. I say on the House level, I have squatters in my house. They need to get out. No, they need their day in court to say why they should be allowed to stay in your house. No. Just like the judges are now saying that they need to have their day in court as to why they should be allowed to stay in your country. It's coming. We won't admit it yet. I'll give you another one. This one's classic. This happened this week, okay, in New Mexico. Another federal judge. I want you to listen to how ludicrous this is. He dismissed the charges against dozens of illegals crossing the border who violated security regulations of the United States military by trespassing into a military zone, were arrested, presumably by the MPs, and handed over to INS or ICE, one of the two, okay? And then were taken to court to be charged with trespassing on a military installation. In the hearing, the federal government, the prosecutors, said that it was posted in English and in Spanish that this was a U.S. military installation and trespassing was strictly forbidden, that you were not allowed to go in there. Signs were posted. In the hearing, the judge, Chief Justice, by the way, Chief U.S. Magistrate Justice, by the name of Gregory Warmuth, ruled that that wasn't good enough, that posting signs saying no trespassing U.S. military installation wasn't good enough because the government didn't prove that the illegals saw these signs or read these signs. And so therefore, he let them loose. Hell of a precedent that sets. If I ever get pulled over for speeding, I'm just going to tell the court, I didn't see the sign. Well, that's not a valid excuse, sir. Well, here's precedent, Your Honor. I'd love to see what they say, because that's exactly the same scenario. Ignorance is now a valid defense. Gee, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was illegal to carry a gun into a courthouse. I didn't see the sign. You didn't know? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, we have to let you go. This is where we've gotten to. The criminals in this country have not more rights than the innocent. The criminals in this country have all the rights. The courts are making their excuses for them. Anybody remember the movie Law Abiding Citizen? Jamie Foxx, Gerard Butler. The movie's about 15 years old. That's where we're going. That you're going to have stories where some illegal is going to kill a Laken Riley or rape a Jocelyn Dungaree. And dad ain't going to put up with it. And the court's going to say, oh, I'm sorry, he didn't know that was a crime. He didn't see the sign. He didn't, it's amazing how they can't read a sign that says no trespassing, but apparently they can all read the U.S. Constitution and interpret it to mean that they have the same rights. No. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. And the corruption in the judicial system is at the district court level, is at the federal court level, and now we are seeing it's at the Supreme Court level. That the rights of the guilty, as manufactured as they are, as made up as they are, take precedence over the rights of the law-abiding citizen in the United States. And then you get a situation like the movie of the same name, where I'm going to take this into my own hands. Remember the 1970s movies, Death Wish, with Charles Bronson? What happened in those movies? Oh, in the first one, his wife was killed, and the cops in the court wouldn't do anything about it. He took care of it. Subsequent movies, his friend's neighborhood was being terrorized by gangs, and the cops and the courts wouldn't do anything about it. Does that sound familiar? Because now we have people's wives and daughters getting murdered. We have neighborhoods being taken over by gangs. Aurora, Colorado, ring a bell? This is what the court system is pushing the public to. This is what the Democrats want. I mean, look at what happened yesterday. James Comey, remember him, the disgraced former FBI director. Okay, I want you to think about this for a second. This guy was the FBI director, pretty much the top cop in the United States. And he supposedly took a picture of seashells on the beach that were arranged in the numeric sequence of 8647 and claimed, the top cop in the United States claimed he didn't know that 86 means violence, is slang for assassinate, and 47 obviously being the number of the president. So the Secret Service went to interview Mr. Comey yesterday, and he pled stupidity to them. He pled ignorance to them. And the Secret Service did not arrest him because they knew that the corrupt court system we have would just let him go. Because criminals in the United States are above the law, especially if they are illegals or liberals. They don't have to follow the law. You and I have to follow the law. You get a speeding ticket, guarantee you got to pay a fine. You don't get the same privilege of pleading ignorance about reading signs like you would if you habla español, okay, even if the sign was in Spanish. God forbid you say something about 8646. Oh my God, the FBI would be at your door in a heartbeat. You know, maybe you were a January 6er. I'm so terrified. I'm a Congress. You get to go to jail for 5 years without any charges being filed against you. You get to sit around in your boxer shorts in a 4x8 room and are not allowed to talk to your family and not allowed to talk to your lawyer because you walked through the halls of Congress, staying inside the velvet rope. Okay. Maybe you sat down in a chair somewhere. Oh my God, 5 years in prison for sure. But hey, if you burn down a police department, right, Seattle, we won't even charge you. Hell, if you pass counterfeit money and are dealing drugs, we'll put statues and murals of you all over the place because the guy who was doing his job to keep filth like that off the street is the one that got to go to jail. We're in for a world of hurt the way this is going. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how this can be fixed. I don't know. We're well past the re-educating people, enlightening people, voting, impeaching, arresting. I think that's past. It doesn't. You can't clean up all the crooked politicians. You can't clean up all the corrupt judges in this country. I don't think it's possible at this point. That's where we're headed. Street justice is going to be started eventually, soon, I think. And like I said, we're going to have a multifaceted civil war. It's going to be racial and it's going to be political. And the problem is, there's going to be a whole lot of innocents lost in the crossfire. There's a boatload of people in this country who don't have a clue about what's going on. They just blindly go through their lives, believe whatever CNN or NBC tells them, and that's that. Even if they're not paying attention to the liberal lie channels, it's in their face all day long. I mean, of all those keying Teslas or burning down dealerships, how many people do we know that got prosecuted? I'm aware of one. That's it. Okay? The guy that firebombed the Tesla dealership. Other than that, the rest of them got slaps on the wrist, maybe a fine, something like that. For criminal mischief, for damage to property, certainly more than $600, okay? Those should be felony charges, okay? You go into a store, you steal more than $600, it's a felony theft charge, okay? That's what should be going on. But these judges, oh, they're exercising their freedom of speech. No. Causing damage to somebody else's property is not your freedom of speech. There are consequences. You're allowed to say whatever the hell you want. It doesn't forego the fact that there are consequences to your actions. But unfortunately, because of the corrupt judicial system we have, where all these judges have been paid off or somebody's got dirt on them, something like that, they're letting all the criminals go. I don't know. Maybe there's threats on every one of their lives by TDA or MS-13 or the other terrorist group known in the United States simply as the Democrat Party. Maybe that's what's going on. But when criminals have more rights than the people do, eventually the people have to stand up and fight back. Eventually we will. It's just going to be a matter of when it starts and who starts it. The Democrats are willing to do anything criminally because they know there aren't any consequences. There are no repercussions. Because the courts will say, oh, gee, they weren't aware, it wasn't part of their culture, whatever. Ignorance. When a country is overtaken by ignorance, the country no longer exists. We either get back to normalcy or we die. Simple as that. Pinball out.